Alright, so I have decided to make a video about South Korea in the World Cup and the differences between them and everybody else. And it doesn't come down to just the trolley picks and other stuff that's going on. It comes down to the finite execution and the windows that the Koreans use versus the windows that Westerners or other teams see. So we are going to roll this.
At work wonders.
I'm going to turn this
It's kind
down.
of like I feel bad for the.
I love you, Monty Adoa, but you're in the way. So I'm going to cut you off. We're going to stop here. We're going to take stock. Oh, we'll wait until. We'll take stock once the game actually starts. Nothing major. This right here is something key to pick up on that South Korea is doing. They're using their Rhine shield to scout. So that if they have a Hanzo, Widow, whatever, Ryan can talk about it. If they have a Pharah or a Mercy, and they see it at the top spawn window, they're going to call it out. To be fair for South Korea, from what I've seen so far, the main tank and pretty much only him at the beginning of the game is doing recon. Everybody else seems to be doing the standard internet meme. You could argue Flowers doing something productive at the beginning of the game, playing on the stairs, looking to get spam in, but it's just one of those things that I don't see it as truly something productive when he could be setting trap or doing something. But he wants to hide the pick, so I get it. We're going to roll. This is a play out. Definitely this is something you should always assume for South Korea, is they are going to have somebody spawn watching. Something that a lot of Western teams don't do, but you generally want to have somebody always give information / get information. You can make this with your Lucio, which is almost always in every comp, your Rhine, which is now quote unquote in meta. Whatever your meta hero picks are, you can generally peek with them, and you're not basically tipping your hand to anything, and you can get information about what the opposing team is running. So we're gonna roll this some more. I think this is the comp that Russia actually rolls out with. I'm gonna talk about it for a little bit here. So right here, this Western teams, you cannot do this. Anybody who's planning on playing against South Korea, you can't go out the bottom door. You can't be so laissez-faire about just going with it. You have to be every advantage. You have to scrape everything you get out of this. Going out the main door is asking for Ana grenades, spam from Zarya, and if you know that Flower is going to play something weird, you're asking for spam from Flower as well. You have to do these extra flank routes. You have to go out different ways. You can't just go out a spawn door that they're going to have an immediate time that they know that you're going to come out this door, because that's where every Ana pre-fires her nade. So Zarya fires her stuff, and you're just going to give up free economy chip. You have to scrap, scrimp, and scrape everything versus South Korea. South Korea will take advantage of everything you get them. They will take everything from you and give you nothing in return. And again, just as I said, all the spam starts coming in. Arguably, this is just a mistake, but it's still, all this damage is coming in, and we'll see how much economy that gives them, because everybody's a 0. That's huge. 5%. Arguably, everybody's like, it's just 5%. That 5% is actually a big deal. Because not only is it 5% on ult charge, but Shark's shield is going to be broken and really, really weak going into it. If they had done this rollout or that rollout, they could have avoided the shield damage. They could have avoided giving ult charge. And they also could have avoided being seen / detected. So if you go this route, even though they're peeking, they will not know where you are until you're here or here because of the sound files. And then you just speed roll the corner. So you can't do stuff like this. Again, it's a huge purple. It's 5%, but it's a huge purple. This takes Shadowburn out of the fight for 4 seconds so that these people who are getting poke can now rotate back behind the building. This grenade makes it so that setting up stuff like this is possible, and you cannot do this stuff. Against South Korea, you have to play the mind game slash I'm going to go a different route than is the norm. You cannot just face roll into this team. They'll punish you for it. So this is arguably going to cost Russia 4 to 5 seconds. Because they have to wait for the purple, and they're both going to get healed. And in this time, Flower's just spamming away. The Ana can't heal these people. The Ana's been taken out of the equation by Rouge Hong's grenade, Zumba spam, and Flower spam. So literally, Russia's first push falls apart before they even get in, and economically, they're already losing. They've already started losing in the Rhine is even. The Ana is lost. Shadowburn got no value at the beginning, so Flower is way ahead, and it just gets worse from there. So you have to make sure that you don't give up this free economy and these blatantly straightforward pushes. You have to respect it. The Koreans will respect you at the very beginning, and then they'll start disrespecting you as the game goes on when they have more freedom. So here, you have information. You need to slow down if you're Russia. You have to slow down here. You have a sniper comp. You want to force them back into this choke, and you want them to have to play behind Rhine Shield, and you're playing for shield break at this point. And then you're going to want to create a brawl on point. But again, this has already been partially broken up because of Flower, Zumba, and Rouge Hong. Sabiolbi is going to get value purely because of the pressure these people are creating by being able to play off of his team on either side. So by the Tracer being able to play off his team while his team plays shield, and they micro their cooldowns really, really well here, the Koreans. I'll highlight it when we get to it, but you have to be in a position where you are crisp and clean when it comes with rotations and your rollouts. If not, you're going to start losing economically. So they slow down, they're getting health, they're getting health, they're getting health. Right here. I need to roll it back. Right here, you're in a situation where this Rhine is so far forward that he's creating space, but his team isn't capitalizing on it. His team needs to be pressuring into this choke. You have to force the Koreans into narrow corridors on offense in any situation you can. If you don't, you're going to wind up in a situation where basically economically they're going to get the better of you. Again, Zarya gets massive energy here, but they aren't going to do anything with it. They're just sitting here. When this is going to keep going, there's a grand eco trade. This nade right here arguably gets saved by the Rhine Shield, but you cannot, if their Ana is going to give up her healing cooldown to apply damage and pressure to you, you aren't applying enough pressure to the team and you aren't getting enough damage in. So where Rouge Hong has been free to throw a grenade here, here, and now here, you have spent all 3 of your Ana grenades on your team. So your cooldown management, you're immediately behind because you're not respecting those cooldowns. And that's also a trigger. As soon as Rouge Hong threw that grenade, I would arguably call for an all-in. You can all-in this team composition that Korea has and turn it into a DM war. Rouge Hong not having grenade makes him a great focus target. Toby also is viable in this composition, so both of these people can be focused. Also, you know, Flower and Zumba have gotten value off your first push, so they are also focus targets. So you bully the Rhine and focus one of these 4 people, and you ignore Sabiolbi. And you have to trust that either Rubicon or Mistakes is going to be able to stall him long enough that you can execute on getting these 5 people. And if you do, you win this point here. Punish the Koreans for when they use cooldowns like this. It's the exact same thing they're going to do to you, but you haven't done it. So you're just sitting here. Just sitting here taking damage. Just taking damage. Alright, you're starting a rotation. Mistakes is going up top. I can assume that the rest of his team is going to sit by statue. Yeah, they're just set in this bubble. They've backed themselves into a corner. The Koreans have won all of this space from the point onward by playing to this system. Rouge Hong is in the back. and Mistakes isn't keying on it. Mistakes isn't pressuring the Ana. Mistakes is just getting scouting information, I believe. But you have to pressure him. You have to make sure he uses his cooldowns defensively on his team or himself, and you have to take him out of the game. He's going to hit sleeps. You have to be on your toes. You have to know the sleep animation when Ana starts pulling from her hip. You have to know that that's when you have to use your CD. And there's no way that he can hit that flick if you do it correctly. So this is going to be a situation where there's no pressure applied to this Ana, and the rest of his team can just profit for it. And again, this is just a spam comp from Korea. They're just trying to get as much damage in. We're going to go ahead and take economic stock again. So they're winning in Lucio, winning in Tracer, losing in Rhine. Zarya's even. They're winning in Ana and losing in the sniper department. So arguably, economically, Russia is ahead here, but Russia has not gained anything. They have just stalled out here. So the defense has established its line, and Russia hasn't been able to break it. There's no pressure in the back line. There's no pressure on any of the flanks. So the tanks are literally allowed to just box up right here. And when they box up, it makes it so that Rouge Hong has this nice, safe bubble with the wall and everything else being his own little mini Reinhardt walls and shields. So there's no pressure being applied to him. Russia, again, is going to try and regroup here. They're regrouping. They're trying to set somebody up into a flank, but you have to be way faster than this. You can't sit here. You've wasted 30 seconds just sitting here waiting for Korea to make a mistake. They've made a bunch of mistakes, but you haven't keyed in on and realized them. So again, they're just posturing. They're going to sit here. This is how defense wins the game. All right, you started to take space back as Russia. You've crept in. You've attached to the bubble. You need to swing this corner in and force their Reinhardt to play in this zone. You need to force their Reinhardt to play here, and then your team needs to fan out and take this space. And then you need to be conscious of a rotation from the opposing team through hotel. And if you see this, this is where Rhine's positioning becomes so important. So if the Russian Rhine positions himself right there, looking into the Korean team, he can key in on this rotation before it happens, call it, and then that's a trigger for him. As soon as that happens, the Russian team should pile in. This person has taken themselves out of the fight. So this person has tried to go for a long rotation and immediately gets taken out of the fight. So this person winds up over here, and Russia has piled on. One of the issues is with most Western teams is they play people so far back. You need to be here. You have to push in. These people should be pushing in with the tank. Take the space. Take everything away from them and give them nothing. You have this giant shield here. There's going to be a go button. You have to understand when that go button is. So if their Rhine gets backed into that choke, and then you see a rotation, that's a trigger to go. If your Rhine has his shield up and Ana throws grenade, that's a trigger to go. You have these fights that can be win off of a single cooldown being used incorrectly. Especially when they're big ones like the healing. Right here, this is 100% a winnable fight. Sabi is down. With Sabi down, you have no pressure. Ana should be pushing up. There is absolutely no pressure. Bull support should be piling in here. There's no flanker. There's nobody who can pressure them in the back line, and they're still sitting in the back. So again, we're going to roll it. Right here, you need to take this space if you're Rhine. You have to have faith that your Ana and your Lucio are going to keep you up. Lucio should be speed boosting the Rhine in to that choke and forcing their Rhine to either play in the back cubby or in the arch choke, and you take point. You plant little flags that are, this is mine. I will fight for this. This is my space. I will own this. If you don't, you're going to wind up in a situation where you're basically getting kited out. Because this is a 5v6, even though Flower has ultimate, you should still be able to get in. Rubicon, you should have been faith with the Ana healing you. You're going to have a nano coming up. arguably, in my professional opinion, I think that any Junkrat who gets a tire off was incorrectly played by the team that gets tired. The tire is by far one of the easiest things to kill when you're mechanically able to hit what you're aiming at. A fire strike will kill it. Zarya can kill it. Like literally everybody can focus the tire. It's just like target focusing a player versus saying Rhine, you're saying tire, tire, tire. You're just focusing out the tire. So again, take this space. Make a cubby for your supports to be comfortable forward. And you're just going to see Russia basically not take the space. They just give it all up. They're again back to where they were. They haven't moved. Russia is again in this situation where they haven't pushed, and the Korean line is still stable here, even though they're down. Arguably, mistakes getting picked here by Flower when he goes in for a flank is a bad thing, but you still have to understand that it's still a 5v5. Sabeolby's still down, mistakes is down. It turns into a tank v-tank brawl, and that's what Hanzo wants. You have to play to the Hanzo here. You've put so much into it, you have to make the Rhines be brawling factors so that shields aren't part of the game. So we're going to keep rolling. There's the tire. You can't let that happen. That's 100% team focus. And this is where it falls apart. If Ana had pushed up with her team, she would have been in a better position, arguably. Potentially could have even gotten Zarya bubbled. I wasn't tracking the cooldown, but that's a positioning error from the support. You're playing so far back, you're throwing yourself away. So here's a regroup from Russia. All of that space they had is now here. They're back to the choke. Literally, they're back at square one. And let's take stock economically. Zumba has ult. Zhao does not. Zhao's losing. Rujehong, Forsaken, or even. Flower just used his, but he's down. Shadowburn is up. Mistakes is up versus Sabeolby. Mono versus Shark. Shark is up. Mono is down. And Toby versus Rubicon. Rubicon is up. Toby is down. This is a game Russia was winning economically, but was losing due to positioning and not understanding triggers to engage on. Russia 100% could have won this game on that push and this following push, if they do things correctly. Zhao is going to come in. They're going to apply pressure. They're just spamming the choke. It's incidental damage. They're just looking to get incidental damage. Incidental damage, incidental damage. Right here, again, they have drawn this battle line. Korea loves to do this. They want to force you into the narrowest choke they can without overextending. This is the narrowest point they can control you. They can control everything you do because you only have 3 angles. You can go through the hotel, you can go through main, or you can go through the side building. And right here, this right here. When you go in like this, as soon as Zumba disappears, you have to respect the grab. Somebody on this team should be ult tracking. Somebody should know that this is about to happen because of what Zhao has. Just getting damage, just getting damage. Right here. This should have been called. This should have been calmed. 100% this rotation should have been talked about. In the moment, this should have been talked about because this literally makes or breaks this fight you're ahead on economically. You've committed an ultimate right there. You got to talk about the rotation. You have to talk about when somebody disappears. It's something so simple, and it's a complete and utter team wipe. Arguably, they do correct. They don't blow anything else, and they're going for a 6 ult push. They don't use anything else. They just are trying to clean up now. Now the Russians are like, okay, get out, reset. Again, this space that they're creating is the issue for Russia. Russia needs to create space. They need to bully the opposing team. Again, right here. This is purely a mental lapse. This should never happen in a professional game. I know this is the World Cup. It's supposed to be, you know, the World Cup. You, right here. Shark. That should never happen. No Rhine should ever let this happen. When the giant blue rectangle is missing, you have to assume he's flanking. You also should check this corner as soon as you go ahead. I find it hard to believe that the team rolls in here and nobody saw that the Rhine was from this LOS. This Rhine is going to get value here, and this instantaneously loses another fight for Russia. Both tanks go down. You have no front line. You have no ability to fight anymore. You have to get out. 4 people who are here immediately should be peeling out. As soon as that shatter went down, should be a team effort to GTFO. This is pointless. I'm like, there's no reason for you to be fighting there. Just give it up. That ult won that fight clean. So again, we're back to the spam. We're back to the spam. Russia again is going to take that stance, and they're moving Rouge Hong from side to side. Korea will put its support in the position where it can get most effect on both teams. So where North American teams want to position their Ana to affect their team, Korean Anas, from what I have seen, especially Rouge Hong, want to affect their entire team, and then they want to affect 3 to 4 of the opposing team with their positioning. So it's a very offensive posture that's easily punished if you do it correctly. You cannot be afraid of the sleep. You cannot be afraid of the cooldown. You have to apply pressure to the supports, and then the Korean front line has to respect you and back up. This space that they're making right here, that they've made all game, goes away. The Russians had a chance here if they had applied pressure to the right situations and realized triggers to engage. Again, we're going to see a tire come up. This time I believe it gets beated. Right here. When this tire goes off, everybody should know about it. Rubicon's going to drop beat. Right here. Everybody should know this tire can't kill them. If he waits it out, that's fine. But you should be piling in. You need to take advantage of the shield. You aren't using the shield to mitigate the tire. You're using the shield to engage onto the opposing team. So take that window. You cannot be passive like this. Ana gets away for free. They kill the tire. The dragon goes off. Dragon didn't get anything. Team is zoned. Why is this Rhine out in Egypt? Rhine is hung. Rhine can't do anything. Zarya can bubble him. Lucio can't help him. Pressure this Rhine. Rhine is alone. Kill him. Apply pressure to Rouge Hong. Apply pressure to somebody here. You've just blown all this economy. Take the fight to them. Again, here. So you get in. Rhine flips. Rhine has to respect the shield. Rhine has to turn because he knows you have shatter. He's trying to get to this situation to block for his team. If you're this Rhine, you have to shatter way sooner than that. You have to immediately. It has to be instantaneous reflex. So if you charged in, it should be an instantaneous shatter. You're not looking for a 6-man shatter. You're not looking for a 5-man shatter. You want to slit 1 or 2. 1 or 2 people is a great ultimate in this game. Excellent ultimate is, 3 to 4. And then, the god tier ultimates are the ones that make Reddit clips, where you hit a 6-man shatter, a 6-man grab. The ult that Zumba hit is arguably one of those, excellent ultimates, but it's not a necessity. As long as he gets 1 or 2 key pieces, the ultimate, and you focus it, it gets value. It's instantaneously better than doing nothing. And you just whiff on it. You have to do it sooner than that. There can be no delay. I'll even watch and see what happens. So right here, you get booped. But you should be shattering down this angle. There's no reason for you not to shatter that down. What are you trying to save? What are you trying to block? Understand the game state that this is what matters to your team right now. Applying pressure to their backline, taking them out of the fight, means he is hung. Even with Nano, even with everything that's going on, it's a far better play to sack this here and do it while you're getting booped and pushed than to do what you're doing currently. Arguably, in the back line, this is another issue, is this shouldn't be happening. You should be applying pressure as a team. The Russian positioning here is all sorts of whack. Like, they aren't a group. The Koreans, you can see defined groups. And I know for a fact, like, Rouge Hong is upper, or he's in arch. So he's with this group. So you have a core group of 5 and a flanker. They aren't playing this individual stuff. They aren't playing this individual game, which happens a lot with Western teams. It's not about the individual DM, it's about how you play as a team. So the Grav, the Shatter, everything's going off. Forsaken needs to get a Nano off. He can't sit on this Nano. He just needs to use it. This is their one winnable fight. So he uses it on Zarya. Arguably, I would not have used this Nano on Zarya. This is a situation where I think that if you apply this Nano 100%, I think you have to apply it to your Rhine as he's going in for the shatter. You need to focus everything onto your Rhine. You want their entire team looking here so that Zhao and the rest of your team can get value. You want the entire focus of the opposing team on your Rhine. So I think the Nano on the Rhine would have been a better play. Gives him durability, and then if you pocket him and you get health on him, he should be fine. The damage reduction is huge. And again, South Korea, again, even in the chaos of this fight, you have won all of this space. No pressure on Ru Zhehong. No pressure on their support. You have to identify where he is. Identify where Ru Zhehong is. Identify where their Lucio is. Apply pressure to them, and then bully the tanks. So Lucio is here. Ana is here. They're playing in opposite corners. So mistakes should be on Ru Zhehong, or he should be on the Lucio. He should be applying pressure to one of them. The Western mentality is that if you are a tracer, you can just farm tanks and then you blow up a tank and you win the fight. If you're good, you should be using it on a support. A support instantaneously wins the fight. The tank is still salvageable. And again, we have another rotation from Korea. They're just turning the point. You push this way, they push this way. They immediately are doing this whole flow. And again, they're going to just come back in and they're going to take the space that you just earned because you have to be passive now. You have to back up. There's the rotation, and your backline crumbles, and your entire push dies because your backline was not in a position. You have to spot these rotations. Korea is just going to keep doing this. And this is just standard play for South Korea. It's really, really easy stuff if you pay attention to it in the heat of the moment. And again, South Korea is going to wipe Russia. Russia's now economically out. They need to flex. They need to go to a dive comp. They need to go to something else. They need to play a different composition. Shadowburn goes to the god tier pick of I'm going to try and Genji. The D.Va is really, really good because Zumba managed to get another Graviton. Number one thing for Zumba, touching on Zumba real quick. This spell goes down, you do not hit it. You do not blow up Zarya bubbles unless you are going to 100% kill Zarya as soon as you pop that bubble. You cannot let a Zarya be at high energy for the majority of this game that Zumba had. You have to make the Zarya play dumb to get energy and then capitalize on it because she's going to force out Ana cooldown, she's going to force out all these things. So this is a situation where you pop that bubble, you kill Zarya. Zarya should be one of your highest focused tanks in this target comp. And then again, there's the Graviton, just farm the D.Va. Just farm the D.Va. D.Va can't do anything. D.Va out of mech, you're officially free to go. As the D.Va on the opposing team, you have to understand that every Zarya is going to try and put this ult somewhere you can't eat it. So when she does this, it's literally saying you can't kill this, you can't eat this, because of LOS. And she's just going to suck up one person. And this is, again, a good ultimate. It's not a great ultimate, it's not an excellent ultimate. It is a good ultimate. It gets the D.Va mech. It achieves their goal for this fight. And again, the backline is going to fall apart due to this rotation. It's not about marking it. It's about getting in and staying as a group and brawling as a team. Korea will spin around you and try and get on you from multiple flanks. You can take advantage of this by keying in on the rotation. Key example, when they send 2 people through hotel, your entire team should be piling in past them onto the choke. Find the support. Kill the support. Dive comp versus Korea is going to be one of your biggest strengths. It's going to help you so much immensely. Flower played like an idiot on the side the entire time. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Flower, to be honest, in my opinion, he's trolling. He is not trying. He is playing like an idiot on the side and never got punished. Sabaobi was trying really, really hard in the flanks. Sabaobi is the unslight, undersung MVP for me of this quote-unquote map. He applied so much pressure to the backline that it didn't matter. But again, this is one of those situations where Russia had chances to win by pressuring into the back via one of these routes, and they just didn't. They let the opposing team rotate on them, and then they developed into this little ball, and when in this little ball, the Rhine shield can only face one way, and the opposing team got massive value on this end. So we're going to roll it again. Talk about the match at this point. So if you are down in this situation to Korea, what you do is you need to mentally reset. This needs to be a mental reset of we play for a full hold, but if we lose, it's not a big deal. This is one of those situations where I don't care if they're Korean. I don't care what they're doing. I'm going to do what I do. How do I full hold this? They're going to play something weird. They're going to play something funny. I want to force them to play meta comps. How do I force them to play meta comps? I can force them to play meta comps by outplaying them. I can force them to play meta comps by cheesing them. I can force them to play meta comps by basically breaking whatever they're doing. So in this situation, as Russia going in, or any team that goes in down a map to South Korea, you need to apply pressure to the key players of the opposing team. Body language is a huge thing right here. In this situation, with South Korea's whole situation, I'm going to roll it back actually a little bit and see if I can get a better shot of the entire South Korean team. Right here. Body language means everything. Body language is a huge, huge thing. This person is doing their routine. Flower and Sebiobi are doing their thing. They're immediately the DPS players. This is his hot hand tell. He does this after every match. There's no mental pressure, no break here. The confidence can be seen. There is no pressure applied to this team after that game. You have to apply pressure. If you can do, say, I don't know the faces of all these players, but we'll use Sebiobi as an example. If this person right here is one of the people on the opposing team and you can do something by creating a fracture in this person, you can create a ripple and a break through the entire team. This one person can create an entire break and fracture in the entire team. Generally, you want to target supports. Supports and main tanks are generally the most fragile people. They get very emotional. DPS players, not so much. Everybody else are very fragile. You can actually get in and break a team apart in this setting by basically making somebody your bitch. So if you've chalked this King's Row game up to being a loss, that's fine. You still want to try and full hold. You still want to do you. But in the greater scheme of things, you need to use this match to find your mark. Find the key target that you need to deal with into the coming rounds. You need to find out what is the piece that is making them work. Again, body language. What just happened between these three people is something that's key. You can tell there's frustration. Being full held, everybody gets frustrated when they get full held. These two people specifically, the body language, you aren't focused on that. You're focused on the last game. You have to drop it, move on to the next thing. This is a situation where you have to plan to the next map, to the next map, to the next map. You aren't playing on what happened. You got 4-0'd, no, 4-0'd. You got full held, doesn't matter. Just keep moving on. Next thing, next thing, next thing. Ugh. And again, this is just body language stuff. You can see the difference in the two teams, in their posture, how they're acting, how they're doing stuff together. You can tell that there's no pressure. You have to create that pressure, that tension. Let's skip forward. Again, I'm going to take stock once the game starts, and then I'm going to talk about the teams. In this situation, though, Russia has to understand they have to full hold. So they have to be the aggressors. Versus playing, say, this choke, they have to play way further up. It's going to be a situation where Russia is behind the 8 ball, per se. But this is still winnable. Their percentage made this still a winnable map. This is standard from every pro team in the world. this arrow. Take note of it. They're going to shoot this arrow. What does that tell you? I can't have anybody here. They need to be on the back side, or they need to be on this side. And I guarantee you, if South Korea watches this video and they see that I've keyed in on this, they'll shoot it somewhere else. And now it's a mind game. And you have to make sure you understand the mind game. Because anywhere is better than somewhere they've shot already. Takes value away from the arrow. Doesn't get any information. Jumps back, flexes. Alright, we're going to take stock. So, South Korea is running triple support. At first, triple support seemed very, very trolly to me. I thought this was, again, the Koreans not being under any pressure to deal with anything. Flower just is playing whatever the hell Flower wants. Sabiolbi's playing whatever the hell he wants. Team building around it. It's literally the same 4 picks around everything unless you're doing dive. In this situation, I think that it looks trolly, but it isn't. There are 2 things here you have to keep in mind for a triple support comp to work. Triple support is a very slow comp. Triple support is not fast. It is not a pick comp. It is not a dive comp. It's even slower than a brawl comp. But what it gives you is sustain. With this orb, this, and then the passive healing, you literally stick orb on Sabiolbi. Rouge Hong takes care of the 2 tanks, and then Toby takes care of everybody else. And you literally should have a team that, as long as they play as a core murder ball, together, that is the key thing, together, they should not lose this fight, because they only have to get a small percentage. As for Russia, Russia's running this half-ass dive triple DPS. This pick right here, I argue, is a bad pick. I do not support default 76s from people. I think that you have to full hold here. I do not think 76 is the answer for full hold. I like the Tracer. I like the Genji. It applies pressure to the backline of Rouge Hong and Toby, and now Flower, because they now have 3 supports, and they only have Peel in the form of Sabiolbi. This is a situation where I could see both Zhao playing something different, and I could see Forsaken playing something different. I actually, to be perfectly honest, would love to have seen a Pharah Mercy here. Tracer, Genji, Pharah, Mercy, Winston with a Lucio. And literally make it so that the Koreans, if they want to murder ball, you're just going to spam the ever-loving shit out of them. But again, this is hindsight 2020. You have to play a hit scan in case they play a Pharah, but I think that if you play your own Pharah Mercy, it fixes that issue and you don't have to be as reliant on hit scan. You have a suboptimal equal play that is far better. You have to play for a full hold. I think Res is good. I think that the trance is okay, but I don't think you're going to get it. I think that literally this is going to be decided in 1 or 2 fights. And if Forsaken doesn't get it, you've thrown away the entire phase. So we're going to watch Korea walk in. Why are you giving all of this up? All of this space is given up for free. The Koreans contested you. They put people here, and then they slowly rotated them back. They didn't give it to you for free. They made you posture for it. They made you slow down here. And then they went in. So we're going to go. You take poke. Oh well, I have triple support. Doesn't matter. Let my McCree work. Look at how tight this murder ball is. Look at how tight it is. Exactly what Russia wasn't doing, Korea is doing. They have their entire team within this affected area. They're just going to roll in. Ball up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people within 1 frame. You have these people out here. If you're a dive comp, this is the worst case scenario. You can't dive into this room. You need to make sure they cannot do anything. This is where, as dive, you need to suck them out. Suck Korea out and engage on the back line, because the back line is going to want to stay inside. So what's going to wind up happening here is Korea is going to basically just poke for free. Poke for free. Go back into the room. Poke for free. Go back into the room. Poke for free. This right here. That Winston jump. You can't go in there. You cannot go in there. You're just going to get punished. You have to wait. You have to wait. You have to wait. Patience, patience, patience. Identify how slow their comp is. Identify that they don't have the DPS and damage to kill you if you play correctly. Rotate people in and out. Play for poke. Play for spam. And again, Korea made a rotation. Korea turned you into the attacking team now. And again, Korea has taken this line. They have stacked the point. They have stolen it from you because of that play. This is a do or die moment. As the Russians, you have to immediately identify this and get in onto the supports. You have to understand that they only have, so much damage. And you have to hope that you're going to have, the ability to do something to it. But it's just going to be, a McCree with a pocket and two players just sitting in a back line hugging each other. And then the Rhine peeling and the Zarya peeling. It's a composition built entirely to take advantage of overaggression. The Koreans will punish you at any given time. They rotated into this building, made it so that you wanted to dive in. You have to just hold them there. Call their bluff. Unless they are physically on the point, they are causing you no harm. They can go wherever the fuck they want in this entire area. They want to rotate like this? Let them. Rotate around them. Move yourself. So we'll do this for example. So Korea rotates this way. As the defending team, as soon as you identify this, you can't dive in there. You rotate to the high ground. As soon as you see them on the back of the point, you immediately need to draw your line. You didn't give up the Winston here by diving into them, so you have a main tank to play here, play point. And then you immediately, as soon as you identify this, because you rotated and you're the offense, you're forcing them into a corner. So you need to flex onto this side and force South Korea to go back. So what ideally would happen is South Korea goes, Russia identifies and takes their stance. Russia applies pressure. The only out is for Korea to go into a narrow corridor because that's how their comp works. And then immediately they have to play this choke. And again, they have to rotate from here. So this creates another situation where you have lost nothing, given them nothing. And again, Korea wants to rotate. They'll rotate, and they may rotate high ground. If they rotate high ground, you want to set yourself up so that you're always in a position to contest the point. Because the point, this is the most important thing in the entire game. This right here. I don't care if they're in the choke. I don't care if they're in here. 100% honest, that shouldn't matter. They want to rotate and walk around the map? Cool, they're burning time. They want to jump on point? Then I care. I want to position so that I can deny them the ability to openly do this. Key rotations like this, Korea is going to keep doing it. They're going to rotate on you. They're going to force you into these awkward situations. You either take the fight head on with a fat comp or, heavy people. So 2-2-2 into Korea is probably your best option. But you want to either take this fight head on and force it into a DM war, or you have to out-rotate them. So in this situation, if Korea rotates, you want to rotate, like we talked about, and get it into this infinite swirl because you're playing around the point. You don't have to be the offensive person. You're on defense. Why do you have to go into them? There's no reason to. Just sit there. If they want to build economy, so do you. There's no reason to force it like that. And then look for any mistake. If Ru Jae-hong in this situation blows his grenade, kill him. Jump on him. He has no heal. He has Toby's heal. If he throws that shit at you, kill him. Say Beolby misses a flash, kill him. Mono, I don't care. It's a Reinhardt. He's going to hit me for 75. I genuinely don't care about their Reinhardt. I want to apply pressure to him, but after I apply pressure to him, I don't care. Zumba, if he has high energy, he's important. So literally, if Ru Jae-hong throws his grenade, you dive in, Zumba shields him, those two people need to die. This is your focus order. Literally, whoever keyed that play, you have to identify and be able to counter. So, Russia loses the first match, Korea's up in spirits, and now we move on to Koth. Korea's going with the standard trolley, whatever the hell they feel like comp. And Russia immediately. This is default to dive. This is just straight up default to ult dive. Korea wants to turn, or not Korea, Russia wants to turn this into a dive brawl. They want to turn it into a target-focused DM war. whereas South Korea, in this situation, is still trying to play a team-focused, team-centric game. This pick right here, I don't think it's troll. I think this is a marked pick. I think that this is Koth. You can assume that they're going to run either Rein Zarya or they're going to run Diva Winston. Diva Matrix only lasts 6 seconds. If Flower plays correctly, he's just going to tank bust. And he's not going to have anybody to stop him. Again, this is going to come down to mistakes and Shadowburn being able to apply pressure to Rujehong, Toby, and Zumba. Forcing out cooldowns, forcing them to play uncomfortably. Russia is going to set up for a dive. And again, look at how tight Korea is. Korea is playing in this great murder ball group. They know what they need to do. They're not off on their own. They aren't playing, individual wars. Like, Sabeolbi is the flanker in this composition. And Sabeolbi is in the team brawl. It's understanding that. So again, they're just going to slow push in, slow push in, slow push in, muscle the dive out, muscle the dive out. Shadowburn has to blow a cooldown because of his positioning. He gets caught out. And again, they have this positioning. They have taken all of white. The point isn't open yet. I guarantee you the Koreans are keying in on this information. They know that that's happened. So what they're going to do is they're going to slow play white. And they're going to get as much incidental damage on you because you've taken up all of this space, but you have no way to secure it all. You expanded way too fast. So in this situation, if you expand that fast, you need to make sure that you have the ability to defend it at all the locations. So what Korea's going to do is they're just going to slow roll it, look for a key cooldown, look for a key person, and then they're going to take you and they're going to force you into one of 3 chokes. And they're going to hold you there. Just grouping. Again, just poking damage, Backline. There's the thing. Right here. Korea has done what they wanted you to do. They have forced you as a dive comp, a mobile composition, to clump up. They have achieved their goal. They have done what they want to do. Dive, you need to have multiple angles. You can't come in like this. Suck them in. Make them want to push forward into your key target. And then you encircle them. That's the key. That's the basic principle of it. So the Winston needs to kite back. And the flankers need to push in and apply pressure to the backline. And then as soon as the backline does it, you immediately throw your tanks into the center. Both Diva and Winston pile in. As soon as the prongs connect. Immediately. And that applies pressure. But you, again, are just sitting there. You're balled up. You're playing like you're a fat comp. You're a mobile comp. Right here. Again, Korea. We talk about it. They've drawn their line. I'll even make it better. I'll make it better. Right there. That is what Korea has claimed. Russia had, at the beginning of the game, Russia had all of that, and now look at where it is. Korea has slowly pushed in, taken a flank, gained all of this ground, when all they originally had was that. They've manipulated your positioning, and they've actually bottlenecked you into a corner. They've created this space. They want you to feel safe here. And you refuse to acknowledge it, and you refuse to play like you should be. The Lucio should be positioned here, Winston and Diva, and then your prongs should be your Genji, your Tracer, and your main support, whoever it is, has to play way farther off. And they have to play like it's a one-man army. They have to slow roll it. Don't show yourself. Get value. That or play inside the murder ball. That works too. And when the opposing team, say Korea, applies pressure, you connect the prongs, and then when Korea's attention is divided among the targets that you have added to it, you instantaneously capitalize and crush them. Like, it becomes a DM war at this point, that it's all about timing. But you've literally decided to break their fat comp by using your mobility and focusing on dive. So again, this is where I think Russia fails. I think they fail to do this, and they fail to identify it. This is probably the sloppiest moment from Korea, but there is somewhat method to the madness. I do not support this focus at all. This should not be a thing. The Rhine is not that big of a deal. He's out of position, arguably, but that is your key target. Nobody ever, like, Zumba is a great Zarya player. I will give him that. But he is playing like an idiot right here. There's no reason for him to be here. Just kill him. Your entire team is mobile. Blow a cooldown. Blow a cooldown. Blow a cooldown. Get in there. You have a hung target. If that one doesn't work, you have another hung target right there. Shadowburn can probably see this on his screen. Identify and talk about it. As soon as this frame happens, it should immediately be a cue because you don't want to kill him. He is not your primary focus. He's not the thing you want. You should pile on as a team and deal with things that are out of position. So I would say Shadowburn should call this, and then D.Va flies in, and then D.Va matrixes the Reaper because you've already lost this person. So you have to just pull the trigger and go. Like you're a dive comp. You don't get to sit here and play economically anymore. You just got to go. And this is exactly what Korea wants. Again, they have bullied you into a corner. They have literally made it so that you feel safe in this area, and they won't let you out of it. It's just a choke. They're just strangling you out. And you're just going to watch Korea clean up. Arguably, Shadowburn maybe could have made a hero play, but I doubt it. If he had gotten Blade off Rhine, if that was his logic, maybe he makes a hero play there, but I don't think it's correct. And again, the Koreans, we talked about it. They're going to try and take to chokes. They're going to hold you at the chokes. They're going to take as much space from you without giving you anything. They're going to make you fight for every inch, but they're going to make you fight for every inch in a smart way. Sabiolba just blew up that railing. If you're the opposing team and you see that, you have to understand that he's going to come in a flank. Sabiolba will be setting up for a grab. And here's going to come the combo. Just clean. And again, they're just holding the choke. They won economically at this point. You have to take other routes. You have to split up and then re-engage and understand that they have to play in this tight murder ball. It's all about the map play more than the individual mechanics. Because to be honest, I think that a lot of Westerners can outplay mechanically the Koreans. I think that the Koreans have a way better team game and way better macro of the overall game state. But I think that the North American and European micro of raw mechanics is better. So again, there's information needs to be passed on. You're just getting choked out. You're just getting choked out. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? They've literally just, again, stacked onto a choke, and they're going to hold you there. And keep playing, keep playing. You muscled Korea out. But again, the Korean murder ball. The Koreans are all together. All grouped up. All grouped up. And then they're going to capitalize when you are out of position. That's a call. It's a calm. It's cleaned. That's a tracer thing. You have to play that correctly. It's a mind game. You have to know the animation start time, and if you're really, really good, your reaction time is going to stop it. Again, they go right back. Choke is established again. They're just going to choke you out. They're just going to choke you out. This isn't a KO. This isn't, a heavyweight boxing match. Korea has you in a Kimura figure four, a fucking half Nelson choke hold. They are choking you out. They are taking your ability to play the game away from you. And again, this just comes down to rotating and understanding the positions of the map. The beat goes out, but I don't think this is a fight that Russia can win even with Flower down. Flower flexes. The Graviton is purely to get the visor. And that's overtime. Korea will sit there and they will just choke you out. Once they win that first fight, they have no reason to play stupid. They have no reason to really reserve. You have to be the person who applies first. You have to be the team that gets it first. Right here, we have emotion. Emotion is satisfaction. Every single person except for the Russians is excited. The Russians are playing way behind the Koreans. The Russians, in my opinion, I think the Russians mechanically are looking better and they're economically better, but the map game is winning it for Korea. So we're going to go to garden. Garden. And we're going to pause. No, take stock. All right, so Korea, because of the nature of this map, cannot play with the way they want to. This pick here tells me that Zumba will play this as long as he is allowed to. He will play Zarya until you force him to play D.Va. So, if that is the case, you have to have a hit scan player who can apply pressure from range to the rest of his team. However, the better part of this is Rouge Hong is now on Mercy. That healing support that was such a pressure that you never applied to the backline is no longer not your priority. That Mercy is only your priority if she has res. So this Lucio moves up into the priority list. Him and Zarya are your only two diveable targets. You can't dive Pharah, you can't dive Mercy. You can dive Monkey sort of, but it's just he's going to jump out unless you catch him diving in. And diving a Tracer is arguably a bad idea. So, if you are Russia in this scenario, you need to apply pressure as much as possible to Zumba and make him your dive target. You need to apply pressure to Toby, make him your dive target. And you need to apply pressure to Flower so that Flower does not get free damage. This looks like a comp that Korea has to play because of the map. The map dictates this composition. Again, you're going to see this with Korea's positioning. They're using natural things on the map as shields. They're using these. They're playing close to these things while getting spam in. You're going to see the Koreans, again, are trying to suck you in, and then they're going to rotate and capitalize on you. This is going to be far more brawly, but it's way more macro-centric. And this is why I hate spectating Pharahs, because I don't know what's going on the rest of this match, but that's another topic, because who the hell wants to know what's going on with a Pharah when there are 10 other people on the map? Alright, so Russia loses D.Va back here. It's going to free up Flower, and I think Flower's going to play far more aggressively here. The Mercy is popcorn healing. Rouge Hong is healing here. And then he heals here. And then he heals here. And then he goes back. And then maybe here, and then he goes back. And he heals here, and then he goes back. And he's popcorn healing. He's going from ground to ground to ground to air. Flower is positioning himself so that Rouge Hong always has an out. Shadowburn needs to play way more aggressively when he is a Pharah without a Mercy. You have to get in two-shot. You cannot play passively in this matchup. You have to get in there, because if not, you're just going to lose in the economy exchange. So Shadowburn should be focused on the ground game, and Flower should be focused on the 1v1. So again, we're going to apply pressure, and again, the choke has been drawn. And they're getting information, they have people scouting, calming, scouting. And then right here, Korea is prepping. They know that they see you here. They're prepping to stall you at this choke. This is a situation where you have to identify and be ready for the fight that's going to happen, because you know they're going to try and stuff you there. They're going to try and get incidental damage in, and then they're going to try and go. Russia, in this situation, has to realize they cannot sit and take this spam. They have to go. They have to find a button and go. They have to figure out a way in and just go with it. They need to apply pressure with something and deal something to someone that will make their way in. If they can't accomplish that, it's going to be a complete and utter lost fight. And again, this is just going to be Farah spam. You can see there's no pressure applied to Farah. The Farah is 100% free, and you have to win the ground war as Russia. If you don't, the Farah is just going to win the game for him. And economically, Korea is just crushing it. There's no contest here whatsoever. Zumba gets punished for an overextension, as he rightly should. Korea's out of position, but they aren't getting completely and utterly punished for it. They're regrouping really well. This is going to be a situation where they get everybody back to a remotely safe position and just roll with it. Rujihong going down botches that play because that was supposed to be a res set. They're going to go in. They're going to try and brawl on point. That's all they can do. Res comes in. You ult to offset the res. Shadowburn gets the barrage off. They blow beat. They're flexing their economy now, taking space away from Korea. They're winning the ground game, then cleaning up Farah. They're winning the ground game. Russia is not doing what Korea did. This is a soft reset window. Russia has a chance to posture people, get information, and be able to preemptively know where the offense is going to come in at, and they aren't doing it. This is a situation where people are setting up for damage, setting up for spam. Information will win you a game. Understanding where people are, what they are doing, where they are moving, is going to make you a far better asset than spamming, 3 damage tracer rounds from across the map. And again, Korea is just looking for an engage. They're going to get a pick, and then immediately Flowers on the ground game. Flowers playing purely for the ground game because there's no pressure applied to him. He can just win the ground game. And this is going to turn into South Korea again taking the point because of the compositional differences in the two teams. Forsaken's ult's going to be up here. Mistake's ult's going to be up here. Mistake has to get a huge tempo ult here for there to be value. If not, it's going to turn into a snowball even harder. Mono's going to ult. He's going to try and CC people away, but at this point, this is pretty much South Korea's fight unless they throw. Economically, they're just too far ahead because of the choking Russia out. Russia had to blow way more to get in and do more damage, but this is a situation where Russia could have won. Russia basically regrouped and then set up. It's immediately hard resets, and I don't think that Russia's doing that. Now it's purely just DM target focus for all of South Korea. Tracer, bunch of people bleeding in, and that map's done. And again, soft resets into value of heroes is going to give you such an advantage if you understand the game from a strategic standpoint and getting value, which Korea is doing. And I feel like Russia isn't. I feel like Russia is getting very complacent with what's going on and in a position where they are effectively just sitting there thinking that they can get away with playing the normal game versus thinking about it. Korea will make you think. Korea will make you pick up on the triggers that are going on. Korea is going to make you realize that this person is not with this group, but this is a 5-man murder ball. What engage do we take? What window do we go into? You have to take stock of all of this stuff, and then the minute reactions. Rujehong throws a grenade. You have 7 seconds. Sebiolbi blows a cooldown. Maybe blows his recall. I think that's 8. Mono jumps. It should be a free kill. Like, him not having jump is huge. Zumba new personal is 10. Amp is not that big, but it's like 5 to 5. Yeah, I'll just leave it at 5. 5-second window. And then we'll look at Flower and we'll say translocate. Those are your windows. Like, you have 7 seconds when this happens to engage on this scenario. You have 8 seconds here. Arguably, if Winston fucks up his jump, he should just be dead. This is just you just die. The 10 seconds on Zumba, creates a window where you can focus him. Rouge Hong blowing his nade creates a 7-second window where you can kill Toby, you can kill Zumba. And it's the same for all these cooldowns, and understanding the interactions they have with each other's teams. So they're going with the Korean envious strat. I don't know who to give credit for it. I just know that it popped up in OGN, the Sombra first defense. I think it's envious strat, but I'm going to go with envious OGN because both their region and Envy played it, but Envy had the most success with it, I believe. I think also Envy ran a Widow with it at some point. Not 100% sure about that. Again, you're coming in. This is a point. You need to take stock. Is there somebody here? Is there somebody here? What comp do they have? You need to know this is Russia going in. You're getting information, getting information. You're sitting again. You're squatting. Why are you squatting? What are you waiting for? What happened? Shadowburn took damage. Okay, he can get a health pack. What are you waiting for? Korea's just bogging you down with damage and you're just sitting there. Winston just gets chip damage and everybody stops. You're trying to rotate on Korea. That's great. Good job. You've rotated onto Korea. That's a good thing. You've cleared the high ground. You're applying pressure. What's your next thing as a team? You're just sitting here again. You cannot sit in positions like this. You have to be preemptively planning. So when Russia, I'm going to roll it back a little bit. Roll it back a little bit more. Russia, when they rotated through that upper to here, they need to know where they're going next to now. You can't have this downtime. Where are you going next? You should know. Where are you going next? You should know. Where are you going next? You should know. These key things are what's going to make it so that it's viable to be able to fight in the developing game state that is versus South Korea. Because, like I said, they're way better at the macro of the game as a whole versus the micro of a player. And it's just going to turn into a brawl. And I think that this is going to be one of those situations where it's just a DM more, understanding what you need to focus, where you need to focus, understanding what cooldowns are going to get you. See, Russia starts winning this fight. Russia starts doing really, really well this fight when they do this. Like, it's not that hard. Just play as a team. Playing as a team is the most important thing. Playing the shields with each other, playing together. You're actually applying pressure. Winston arguably gets away from himself there. I don't think that dive was worth. I think this is a situation where you had it and then you lost it. There was no reason to lose it. Once again, it's just a fight on point. And again, no pressure on the Zarya. The Zarya is a huge thing for South Korea. Zumba is literally the #1 focus. Like, to be honest, with most of South Korea's compositions. Force him to play D.Va, force him to play Monkey, force him to play Orisa, something that isn't Zarya, and you will get value, because inherently I believe he is weaker on all of them. So, Russia caps, but I believe that it was economically poor. I don't think this is good at all from Russia. I think that they gave up a lot for how good they had it because of simple mistakes like the Winston going in and other things. Again, this is just economic brawling. A line has been drawn, taking up space, and Russia is again trying to apply pressure, but they need to start thinking about economics here. They need to start thinking about economically going in without a pick. They're going to trade off here. This regroup is really good. The Monkey can't get value. They're going to bide this out. Wait. They get the Monkey. They should be on, and they should be capping. They should be 100%. This is 100% at pro play. This should be 100% a winnable fight. Like, you should just full cap here. Korea's playing it slow, getting a regroup. Nobody's going in on their own. They have people set up to go in, and then they're going to all go in together. And now, what the biggest thing Russia needs to do is keep brawling on point as a team. They can't split. If they split and fracture, right here, Russia fractured. If Russia plays this point together as a group, they should be fine. The issue here comes from somebody going here, somebody went here, somebody went back here. You stopped playing the objective as a group. You're playing individual Overwatch. Korea's just going to mow you down as a team. And you're not in a position to recover from it. You can't win that by yourself. Just need to leave and go. Back out. Reset. Big thing here for Russia to identify when they go in is what health packs are hacked, and then they need to play away from them. Playing away from the hacked health packs is huge for Sombra because it forces the opposing team, if they need health and they want to take advantage of it, to rotate back into the health pack. So if Sombra has this mega hacked, you want to be playing this side of the map. You want to play away from that mega. Again, this is just taking stock. I don't like this economic sit-down time for Russia. I think that to beat Russia or beat South Korea, you have to play way faster than this. I think that dive should have happened way faster, and the chip damage could have been avoided if people, paid attention a little bit better. I feel that a lot of the lackadaisical stuff in point transitions is lost to Western teams. And then again, it's a brawl. We're going to take stock real quick. There's a 1v1. There's a 1v1. Winston's coming back in. Where is the rest of your team? This is a situation where I feel that Russia, again, got into a situation where they were not playing as a team. They won first point cleanly by playing as a team, brawling as a team, focusing as a team, and now they aren't doing it. They're just breaking apart. They're fracturing. A fracture has occurred in the target focus, and a bunch of other stuff. They stall the D.Va. Standard play at this point. It's nothing to highlight. Russia needs to group. Russia needs to fight as a team. Doesn't matter what heroes you play, but you have to brawl and fight as a team. Get as many targets as possible in that short area, and make sure the opposing team flinches to a target. So if Ana, you need to bait yourself. Lucio, bait yourself. Everybody else should be in focusing the same target while you're still trying to execute your job. And again, Shadowburn's looking for a play here. They keyed in on dive target, and then they all fracture again. This right here is really, really good from Russia. And then they're going to fracture again. Shadowburn Blades, everybody scatters. Turns into 1v1s all over the place. But this should have been way cleaner. With that team fight that you just economically pulled out, this should be way cleaner. Should be way faster than this as well. You can definitely tell there are target focus issues. You just lost D.Va mech because people chased the 76. Just clear the stuff on point, fight as a group. Potentially Winston could have saved the D.Va mech there. Play for each other, play wish each other, versus playing the game to freaking play by yourself. That's how you beat Korea. 100% honest. The more and more I watch this series and watch these games go on, the team play is so much better for Korea, but the DM and all this other stuff doesn't seem like it's that impressive. I did not see anything so far in this set from Flower or Sabioli that was, oh my god. It's consistent play that is playing for the team, playing for the team's goal. Again, they get up top, they sit in the spot. They did this push 3 times in a row. They sit here, look for information, and wait. You cannot have this much downtime. You need to already know where you're going next, as soon as you get information. They're going for the same dive, applying pressure. Rouge Hong is on a different hero in a different position. It's getting value. That's a good ultimate. Not a great ultimate, not an excellent ultimate, not a ooh-ah ultimate, but that was a good ultimate, because literally it wins the point for Korea. And now they're going to flex again. By the way, for anybody who's wondering, Rouge Hong can flex to whatever the hell he feels like because Flower is still on Sombra. Flower is the second support in this comp, while Toby is the main support. And then you're relying on the coordinated team play of Winston and D.Va to make up the differential. But the condition is Rouge Hong has to play self-sustaining DPS. Again, Rosh is going to go in. Rosh is going to get the value here of sitting up top again. If it's to clear this high ground, that's fine, but you can clear it. You don't have to, like, sit there for 20 years. Because, like, that lift came up, what, 2-3 seconds ago? Why are you still sitting here? Why are you still on this box? This is your death box. The death cube. Like, why are you still up there? We're going to play it. And they're just setting themselves up. Setting themselves up. Again, they're just sitting there taking stuff that is irrelevant. You need to just go. Play fast, play coordinated. Winston blows his jump. That's a trigger to dive. Reaper's just playing. They're just corralling them. Do you see? Korea doesn't want to take this fight. Korea doesn't want to fight here. They don't care. If you're going to sit there, they're going to let you. What Korea did is they drew this line. And they said, you will play in this area. I don't care where you go. When Russia dives out, Russia breaks through that, but immediately what Korea does is they identify it and they rotate to deal with the Russian dive. Otherwise, they are perfectly content to let your ass sit there because you can't do anything to win the game. Again, Russia blows Winston jump. I do not understand what Russia is doing here. If they're waiting for an ultimate, that's fine, but you should still be pushing. Shadowburn doesn't get value because of the beat. It's not team play. You're playing by yourselves again. Like, I feel like that this is what Russia's doing. Russia's playing a solo queue game. I don't mean quite literally, I just mean that everybody's playing for their own individual efforts and plays, whereas the Koreans are taking stock of what it takes to enable other people. So take stock and own your own play. So if you have the Blade Shadowburn, great. But understand that they probably have beat because you guys sat up top for so long, and use that to engage, get in, fight. But make sure one of your teammates applies pressure to the Lucio. Applies pressure to whatever you need to apply pressure to. And Toby's going to flex here for flat value. This is just purely them flexing to what they need in the moment. Understanding the time frame and how to win the game. And again, they're just letting you sit there. There's no reason for them to push into you. Now they're going to because of the time. But you're going to get caught up in this fight and you're going to start losing the fight. There's your beat. There's your value. D.Va ult, D.Va ult. And again, Korea just sits there. They don't want you to do anything. Zumba was off the Zarya. She had to be on D.Va so that she could rotate. Rouge Hong was not on a support. Toby was not on a support. Flower was... Alright, I take that back. Toby was on a support. Flower was on Sombra. So what do you need to do? If you're Russia here, if this is Korea's strat moving forward, I agree, clearing this high ground is important. As soon as you clear that high ground, you're diving this side of the map. Something on this side. Korea wants to favor this mega, and they want to favor that mini, and that mini. But they have no other megas outside of this one. So you want to apply pressure to the side of the map that is away from the mega. After you do that, rotate in, take the point, and force Korea to be the offensive team or wait for reinforcements. And play for the point, and you will win. You have the mechanical DM here. And we're going to go from here to this, right here. Take stock. Nobody's flustered. Nobody's doing anything funny. Looks good. And we don't get to see Russia. Come on, show me Russia. Show me Russia. That was actually a really good map, by the way, for Russia. That was a very good demonstration of how you beat that style of play. Fast tempo, brawl as a team, out DM them. Take away key targets, take away key ults and abilities. And Russia doesn't look too down. Korea's always up in spirits. So it looks good. Take stock after I roll this back a little bit. Alright, start of the game. What does Korea have? Korea has a standard dive again with the Zarya, again with the Ana. They will run this until you force them off of it. These two targets are the biggest weakness of this composition. What do you have? You have the arguable Envy dive. I don't think this is correct-ish for the moment. Russia arguably can get tons of value here, but it relies entirely upon a combo or playing to the objective, which you haven't been strong at. I think you're better off playing tanks in this situation with a Genji or a Tracer flanking. Identify what the opposing team is doing and then counter it or deal something to it. Make it so that it's not as valuable. Again, you're just playing the choke. You've decided to claim this choke. That's fine. The Koreans are just going to sit here. They're going to wait until Zumba gets value. Zumba's going to go in. Zumba's 80 energy. Zumba's going to micro out. Micro back in. He does the hokey pokey. And I'm in. He will do this. Diva players. South Korea. Everybody should know that Zarya's love to farm divas. But Zumba will tunnel on it. He will never throw himself away, but he will tunnel on you. So you have to play at an effective range. There is an effective range. Zarya cannot hit you, and your Matrix can still get value. So micro. Micro. Player micro. Understand that. But also understand that when you position like that, you have to play in a spot where you can immediately be in a factor, because immediately Zarya is just going to keep burning tanks. Burning tanks. Alright, EMP goes off. Korea doesn't break. They regroup. The tank going down there pretty much sealed Russia's fate. I would like to have seen them just hold their economy here. This is a situation where you have to win the DM war, but why blow economics to try and do it? The EMP isn't going to win you the game. It's the only thing that happens to be up. Just hold it and then play for the second point. And you're going to see the quick cap from Korea. Korea's going to come in. Let's see how long Korea sits here. 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, 5, 6. That's the elevator. Rouge Hung failed on the elevator twice. Okay, they're going to get high ground. I do not like teams sitting here doing this. You have to do something. The Koreans are literally having what they did to the last team. They did to Russia last round, done to themselves. So they're going to clear the high ground. Korea's going to rotate. Korea has declared a rotation, and Russia has engaged upon it. EMP goes off. They did not get beat. This is a huge economic throw, because EMP has to get beat here. If that doesn't get beat, you just lose. And then you're just going to snowball. Like, this is just a misplay economically. The counter to something didn't get it. Therefore, it wasn't focused. That's why ult tracking is so important. You can tell that the Koreans are only using certain ults to counter certain ults. The frag ults are very obviously frag ults, and they're purely using it for value's sake. They're flexing into what fits the composition, and they're forcing you to fight. This is what I was talking about. When you are forcing a team to brawl on point like this, look at Korea's positioning. They're setting up these hooks. They're sucking you in, and then there's going to be a massive pile-on when they see a window, and you blow a cooldown, a trigger, like Rouge Hong blowing his nade offensively. and Korea is still going to keep fighting. Arguably, this fight's lost at this point, but you don't lose anything here if you're Korea. You've gotten a bunch of ultimates out of them. You should just generate more. The only person who'd probably get out is Toby. And again, they're just going to regroup, reset. So these windows of stagnating gameplay are going to be how you capitalize and beat South Korea. Arguably, you could make the same statement for Russia towards the end of this set, but at the beginning, Russia looked like they were playing an individual DM more, which you have to avoid. Applying damage, just applying damage, looking to get something, and then get your trigger to go in. It's a trade, looking to focus out the Winston, get the diva out of mech, and that's going to be a trigger. He's telling his team to go in on it because it's low. It enables his ultimate. Playing for the Mega. And again, Shadowburn has to come in and try and make a hero play. And it's individual play. Individual play. It turns into, for everybody else except South Korea, it turns into an individual war. Versus enabling other teammates, enabling playing around it, and doing all the things you need to. So to summarize, South Korea, just off of the Russia match. I'll do another video for one of their other sets. Hong is blowing his cooldowns aggressively. Very, very aggressively. And you have to punish him for it. You have to make him play a more conservative. Zumba, as long as he's on Zarya and he has energy, he's your #1 target focus. Sabioli and Flower played consistent. That's great. But they didn't make any splash plays. They aren't star DPSs in my opinion. They're consistent DPSs, which is good. But they are not a Shadowburn. A Shadowburn is something you unleash. I don't think you unleash a Flower or a Sabioli. I think that they are literally just doing their job. I don't think that they are going to try and 1v6 carry a team on their back, which requires your team having effort. Toby plays very, very passively and is easily picked. I don't know if everybody was watching. The exchanges at the beginning of team fights were generally Toby playing too far forward and then exchanging for a DPS who dove in to pick him. So capitalizing on this without losing a DPS is going to instantaneously get you value. Mono is different in 2 ways. If he is on Winston, if he blows jump early, he's pickable. If he is standing there eating damage, you need to understand that he's eating it for Toby and Hong. He is feeding those 2 support ultimates by taking spam. He is also doing this to feed Zumba when Zumba's on Zarya. So those are the 2 big triggers outside of, just in general mispositioning. When he is on Rhine, again, he's playing out of position for Zumba to get ult, Hong to get ult, and Toby to get ult. He will not charge unless he's basically guaranteed to kill you because his positioning is far more important. He's way more conscious of his positioning. So manipulating his positioning will make it so that you can manipulate how Korea has to posture. The other 2 things with his Reinhardt is his fire strikes are accurate, but he does not use them on cooldown. So he is declining, he's losing percentage intentionally. And then the last thing is he rotates himself into aggressive positions that can be capitalized upon, but he should always be the last person in your target focus. So let's talk about Sabioli now. Sabioli is going to play a consistent flanker. He is not a Sinatra, he's not a Tavik, he's not, anything. In my opinion, he's like Jesus. He is going to be playing consistently on the sideline, and if you fuck up, he's going to capitalize. But he's not just going to go in and one-clip you. I don't think I saw that at all in the set. So Sabioli is just going to be a consistent flanker that can probably be zoned by your Lucio if you do it correctly. Rubicon probably could have taken Sabioli for most of this game. We'll talk about Flower now. Flower is this thing that is going on. He's an intensely gifted player, but he is playing things that do not belong in his hero pool, that are suboptimal unless it's a specific strat, which then I'm eating my own words, which it could be, but he plays all these different heroes, and it's just like he's trying to showcase himself. When he plays something like the white line represents an off-meta pick, the pink represents a flanker. I should have erased that. Flanker. We'll say this red line is tanks because he played Winston. The blue line represents supports, and the black line is his pocket pick. Flower's pocket pick, I believe, is Reaper. I'm not 100% certain. Over however many fucking months it's been since I've started watching him, Reaper has seemed to be his pocket pick. So it's definitely something that you can, take advantage of when he uses Wraith, when he pushes in to try and bust a tank, and when he uses his E animation, and take advantage of capitalizing on those 3 points. For when he plays support, he's literally just going to play Zenyatta. He's going to play a DM support. He's either going to play a hit scan Honor, he's going to play a hit scan Zen. He's going to AFK passively orb somebody. You don't have to worry about him as a healer, you need to worry about him as a fragger. So you have to treat him as a McCree and frag him when he's out of position, and then he's also your highest dive target priority. When he plays a tank, he has a habit of overextending and flanking, and that's positions you can capitalize on with him. With flankers, he is always going to roll in late. He's always going to roll in late. He will always arrive late to the party. He will always focus supports. And when he rotates like this, you capitalize and kill his team, and then clean him up afterwards. For the off meta pick / off things, like he might play a Hanzo, he might flex to a Mei. I don't really know. This line is going to be really, really awkward. It's going to be a situation where Flower has the ability to play anything here, but you're going to have to capitalize. What's the key cooldown? Where is he being? What is he doing? And capitalize on his positioning mistakes. Because Flower's positioning arguably is completely and utterly trash at some points. Other times it's, quote unquote genius. Other times it's complete and utter trash. He sat in a hotel and spammed King's Row as Junkrat when the opposing team had already moved towards statue. And he couldn't get any damage in. Like, what are you doing? Are you just trying to secure hotel? You have a better angle you can secure hotel from. Like, you can play on the other side, and he's just spamming towards the choke. Like, if it's a set play, I understand. If not, it's whatever. Back towards Sabioli, Flower. Rouge Hong. We'll get into the enigma of Rouge Hong. If he uses nade, offensive. Offensive. I'm just going to do this. This works. Rouge Hong actually has a lot of tells in his gameplay. Offensive nades are the first thing you can go in on. Second thing. I don't know if anybody was paying attention, but he likes to shoot them at Rhine shields, try and catch Rhine sleeping. If he blows either of those cooldowns, he is a key dive target. If he holds them, you have the ability to you can pressure him by playing stupid. This is where your Rhine or your Zarya or one of your flankers can literally pressure him by playing stupid, and you can get tons of value. Those are the 3 major things. His nanos are always going to be for eco and combo. So if Zumba has 60% charge and they know that they're going to need Grav coming forward, they'll nano him. They'll nano Rhine, same concept. Otherwise, it'll always be a combo play, whether it's Visor, Blade, Reaper, whatever it's going to be. So you can assume you know where his nanos are going to go, and you can focus the target. He is self-reliant. Sleep Dart. If he misses that sleep, he dies. you have to clutch the outplay. Understand the animation. Go into a custom game, look at, how the animation works. Key in on it. Understand that that animation's going off. If you're Tracer, you can blink forward, sideways. If you're, Genji, you can deflect. These are key cooldowns that are going to punish Rouge Hong's style of I am lackadaisical about my support cooldowns and economy. He has a huge issue with it, and it can be easily capitalized upon. All right, and then the last big thing that I think I should talk about is, again, the focus order for Korea in most general orders of their comps is going to be Zumba into Rouge Hong into either Mono. I'll just put a number next to each of them. Well, color. So priority targets for first push are going to be those two. Second push, second target in the fight is going to be one of those two. And then say Toby and either Sabioli or Flower. After that, it's going to be Flower and Sabioli, and then Mono. In most compositions, it's going to be that's your quote-unquote focus order. With Toby, of course, he's the outlier here because he can sort of be important, especially if they don't have a dive composition. And you take advantage of this with Korea's rotations and how they're positioning themselves around the map, because they're literally just trying to do this and force you to do this, and they want you to stumble here, and then that's their cue to take all of this space. And then after they do that, they're going to force you to try and take it when you're in a disadvantage. So this stuff might sound all basic, but there are definitely some tells in South Korea's play. There's definitely some strategies at work, but I don't think we've seen an actual composition out of South Korea yet. I think that these were mishmashes of stuff they've covered in basic concepts. If I were to be playing against them, I would key in on Rouge Hong, Zumba. I'd ignore Flower, ignore Sabioli, and then deal with the other two in the next order, and then these two. And then focus in that order, because until they prove me wrong, as long as I respect them, they have to literally do a 1v6 clutch play. And if they don't, we can mitigate them because they didn't have any standout moments. So anyway, that's my analysis of Russia versus South Korea. I definitely feel like Russia had the answer, lost it, had the answer, lost it. I feel like Shadowburn, the old Shadowburn show of 1v6 my way to the finals, is there, but it doesn't work anymore. The game is way more team complex. Shadowburn needs to play with a team that knows how he plays and is an enabler to enable the Genji to pop the fuck off. I don't feel that Team Russia has the same backing that, say, FaZe does. I don't feel like they can work together. So this is just my general opinion on the matches and stuff. I feel like that Russia had a chance to win, and that this series is a lot closer than it looks, but I feel like one or two mental mistakes in the overall macro of the game made it so that the superior Russian micro did not value anything. It didn't get them anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try and do one of these for America, Canada, China, and then UK, and the other two teams I forget. I think one is Australia. I'll find out. And I will try and put these out maybe one a day, maybe one every other day for each team. And I definitely will revisit South Korea, and then I'll do a tournament predictions for the World Cup. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.